Hi, my name is Dan Goodman, and this is an intro to Cocktail. Cocktail is a tool for generating 2D digital assets and documents by combining art, design, and data. The first thing I'm going to do is open a project. This is a project called Monkey Business. It's a card game that myself and a friend of mine, Keatsy Burble, who worked on the artwork, made many years ago. We used other software to actually develop the cards, but I've recreated the layout in Cocktail quite easily. And since I had all of the assets available to me and I own the property, I decided to use that as an example. All right, so this is the project view. The project is the highest level element that you work with. In this case, project is called Monkey Business. There are also layouts, sets, and data sources. But we'll get to that in just 1 minute. First off, you'll see at the top of the tool there's a kind of standard Windows menu. You've got File, Edit, Windows, and Help. You've also got a toolbar right below that, which mirrors some of the same functionality you get from the menu. Additionally, there's a Join Our Discord button here so that you can get in on the conversation we're having online. And then you've got sort of this main view in the center, which is going to be for editing individual layouts or sets. And then on this side here, we've got a standard property grid. Just shows properties of the current element that's selected. In this case, it's the project, and you can see the file name where the project is stored and all that. Let's take a look at a layout. This is a layout in Cocktail. You can see here it looks sort of like a finished card. What you have here are elements that are actually layers, which are part of the layout. Each one of these elements you can see is in this view here to the right of the main editor. You can resize these elements right in the editor here. You can rotate. To the left of the main editor, you'll see a toolbar. Each one of these is a tool that you can use. The first tool, this little square tool, is a selection tool. Then we've got lines, rectangles, ellipses, images, SVG drawings, and text areas. And when you select one of these, you'll see that at the top here in this main toolbar, we get a kind of dynamic toolbar which shows you the current properties that you're going to use when you place this layer. Okay, so when you have something selected in this view, obviously you're going to get its properties here to the right in the property grid. There are some sort of standard properties here. There's enabled, there's positioning and size properties, there is the rotation. In this case, this is an image, so there's a file name to an image here for this blue highlight. And you'll also see that to the right of each of these properties, there's a little chain icon. It's a button that lets you, when you click on it, you can see how this property is connected to our data. And there are a couple different ways that this works. It could be none, which means that the value here is a value that's used for every instance of this image that gets generated. There's also direct, which means it comes directly from the data source. And then there's mapped, which is what's being used here, where a column in the data source has a mapping of its value to a value that's being used in the layout. And we can get into that more later in another video. You also have data sources, which is where all of that data comes from. In this case, we have two data sources. One is called product sheet and another one is called monkeys and actions. And Cocktail currently supports Google Sheets as a data source. So you'll see here in the properties for this particular data source, this ID is actually the Google Sheet ID. And then you've got ID column, name, variance, default front layout, which sets what is used as the default for any elements in this data source. So that connects back to our product layout here. And then there's a back layout in case you want to have duplex printing where you've got fronts and backs linked. And at the top here, you'll see there's some filters. So we can filter this list of elements, which comes from the data source. And we can click on these and we get a preview of what's going to be generated from this data source with the layout. If we look at monkeys and actions here, you'll see there's no default front layout. Instead, there's a layout map where a column determines which layout to use. The final thing that we'll look at is sets. And a set is basically a group of images that are collected together. And you can have multiple copies of images. As you can see here, this is basically a collection of all images that are generated from all of the data sources combined with all of the layouts. And you'll see each of these here. And again, there are filters at the top, so you can filter for specific columns in the data source. And you can either add these to our list here, which is this element to the right of the images. And you'll see there's 10 marketing monkeys, 10 engineering monkeys, 10 production monkeys, and one of everything else here. But we could increase the numbers just by clicking the plus button or decrease with the minus. When you want to generate your final images or document, you've got two options. There's an export option, which will generate individual images, currently as PNG files, but will support additional image file types later. And there's also the ability to print. So if we were to print this, you could just hit OK. We're going to print to PDF using the Microsoft Print to PDF. And it's going to print all of these cards that are in this particular set. I'll just call that test 2. Now it's generating everything and it finished quite quickly. Okay. I could go to our set and show in folder, and that's going to open up our folder with that we just saved to, actually, because I just saved it to the main project folder, which has a set and layout files. And we saved to test 2, which generated this document. And you'll see that everything from our set is included here. And we can also do the same for each of our data sources. You can print or export by right-clicking on the data source here and getting this context menu, or you can also do it from the print and export buttons here. Alright, that just about does it for a quick intro to Cocktail. We'll be doing some more videos in the near future that will go into more details about specific operations that you can do with Cocktail, like creating projects, linking to data sources, creating different layouts, and much more. So subscribe below and click the little bell to be notified when those become available. Thanks for checking out Cocktail. We'll include some links in the text below so you can download the software and join our Discord. Thanks.